This is the closest we've ever been to replicating OLED without it actually being OLED. This is the new Super Quantum Dot Mini LED technology from TCL. Right behind me is the brand new 75-inch C7L from TCL, and a while ago TCL sent me to China to get educated on what Super Quantum Dot Mini LED technology actually is. So let's dive into some of the coolest new tech and compare whether getting OLED or Super Quantum Dot Mini LED technology is actually worth the price tag. One thing I noticed is that this is much more than just a slight upgrade from their normal Mini LED TVs, combining basically the best parts of all of their panels into one new super panel that comes very close to OLED, as close as possible without all of the downsides that comes from OLED. Next-gen quantum dot color, Mini LED local dimming, backlight technology and HVA 2.0 all bounded together. Currently, the biggest upside to OLED is its perfect blacks. Each pixel is its own light source and can be controlled individually. If you want a pixel to be black, it switches off entirely without affecting any other pixels around it, meaning basically infinite contrast. But these pixels are organic material and age over time. While modern OLEDs have been engineered to eliminate burn-in as much as possible, the reality is that OLED panels are still organic material, and they slowly age over time. TCL's goal with tech wasn't to beat OLED. It was just to get close enough that most people wouldn't notice drastic differences. Their flagship SQD Mini LED TV, the X11L, has 20,000 dimming zones across the TV, getting it surprisingly close to OLED. They even found a way of reducing a lot of the bloom and the light bleed that you'd usually see from those dimming zones. How, you might be asking? HVA 2.0 technology. Now, if you're like most people and you don't know what that is, let me explain. When it comes to LCD panels, you have three basic versions, each with their own strengths and weaknesses: IPS, VA, and TN. TCL took the VA panel, which is known for having some of the best blacks and native contrast out of the three, and they upgraded it. Because when the panel is already good at reproducing blacks, your local dimming zones need to do a lot less of the work, solving most of the blacks and contrast issues that we used to have. Now we just need to add color to the equation. This is where Super Quantum Dot technology comes in. Quantum dots are basically tiny semiconductor particles that absorb blue light and turn it into extremely pure red and green light, giving you a huge amount of potential colors from just the blue backlights. The main downside to traditional quantum dot technology, though, has always been consistency. These semiconductors are microscopic, and slight variation in the dot sizes causes colors to look washed out and inconsistent. Super Quantum Dot is basically just a new standard. TCL realized if they can keep each dot within 1 nanometer of each other, they could get much more precise color control and a wider range of colors as a result. TCL claims 100% BT 2020 color space coverage. Although, after talking to their engineers, I think the claim is a bit more complicated than it sounds. They're specifically talking about area ratio. It's more of an average amount. Imagine it covers 105% of BT 2020 blue target, 110% of the red target, but only 90% of the green. The total overall area still adds up to 100% of BT 2020, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the panel can natively reproduce every single point within the BT 2020 color space. Up until now, the only way to reach full BT 2020 coverage has been with an RGB laser projector system, because of how narrow and pure the wavelengths need to be. Part of the solution is the backlight. Their flagship can reach a peak brightness of 10,000 nits, which sounds ridiculous at face value because, let's be honest, a TV that bright would hurt to look at. The extra brightness isn't just about making the image brighter though. It gives the TV more headroom for HDR, and more importantly, it helps keep colors consistent at high brightness. Again, I think it's important to mention that not all of their SQD Mini LED line gets that bright. This one matches out at 3000 nits, putting it firmly in flagship OLED territory when it comes to HDR, and it's still bright enough to cover that 100% BT 2020 range. At the end of the day, I don't think the question is, does this beat OLED? I think it's become, is OLED better enough to justify the price difference? Because 5 years ago, Mini LED was just playing catch-up. But the difference is now that they aren't trying to beat OLED at everything. TCL looked at where OLEDs fall short and they targeted those weaknesses. They are brighter, they've got natural burn-in resistance, and because they're more affordable, you can get a much bigger TV. Let's be honest, a 115-inch OLED right now in this economy, it's just not possible. It might not beat OLED at everything, but depending on what you need from a TV, it might actually make more sense. It's less of a compromise and more of a choice between strengths. As always though, it is a TV, and what it looks like on camera and on your screen right now isn't necessarily the same thing. You need to see them for yourself, in person, compare them. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised at how close they actually get to each other. This was Stefan from Tech, spending the money, sometimes wasting it, so you don't have to. See you in the next one. Cheers, bye.